That's why faith is so important, because faith allows us to let go of resistance and just live, because we're not doing this by ourselves. I don't believe we're doing this by ourselves. So figure out what you believe and then commit to believing it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bendy, and here on this channel we practice flexibility of the mind, the body, and the spirit. Whenever this video comes out, I don't know. I don't make schedules. I just film a bunch of videos and then upload them. So whenever this video does come out, it will be sometime in December. And that means that it's almost the new year. And after the year that we have had, I feel like we should discuss some things. We should discuss the spiritual elements of our lives that we should lock down before we enter 2021, because 2020 has taught us so much. It's taught us so much about ourselves. It's taught us so much about our lives, what we expect from our lives. So let's take all of this new knowledge and be intentional about what we bring into the new year. Now, before we get into this video, I would just like to remind you guys that we do have a way to become more intimate with this beautiful reality bender community. If you would like to connect to this community on a more intimate level, baby, you know what I am saying, go ahead and follow these words right here and type them into your URL box, or you can click the link in the description box. The link, or these words, will take you to a magical place on Facebook called the Manifestation Yoga Collective. In this group, reality benders, or people who consider themselves to be a part of the Bendy Bunch, come together to talk about the law of attraction, help each other with problems, post their own situations in order to gain some feedback. And it's just an overall really loving, wonderful community where we come together and talk. And yeah, I love it. So if that sounds like something that would interest you, go ahead and check out the link in the description box and I will see you there. All right, let's get into the video. Good habits to take into the new year. More specifically, good habits to take into 2021, because the new year isn't just a new year. It's the year after the craziest year any of us have ever experienced, right? So first and foremost, I want to remind you of your personal power. I want to remind you that just because so much has been out of your control this year, that does not mean that at any point you are not allowed to say, I've had enough. I am going to focus on my internal energy so that I can remain grounded and confident within myself. You are able to do that at any time. But sometimes when mass pandemics happen, we can be convinced that our lives and our livelihood and our happiness is dependent on external situations. So let's talk about some ways to give ourselves our power back before we get into the new year so that we can be ready to rock and roll. So the first habit that you should nurture before we enter 2021 is confidence of self and confidence in one's own energy. This is something I've been talking to a lot of private clients about. I have discovered that every person on the planet has their own energy, right? That's something that we know. And our energy is composed of our thoughts. But a lot of times our energy is really different when we're sitting at home on the couch in our comfort zone versus when we're having conversations with people who challenge us, versus when we're in rooms where we never expected to be in, or when we're just in situations that do not align with how we wanted to spend our day. Our energy can fluctuate. So the very first thing that I think we should focus on stabilizing before we get into 2021 is confidence in ourselves and confidence in our internal energy. So the energy that you're holding when you're sitting by yourself is probably the most comfortable. You are thinking the clearest and you are the most at ease. This is an energy that we want to learn to take with us wherever we go. We want to be able to think with ease, think with confidence, and be able to reference our internal thoughts no matter what the external situation is. A lot of us this year were very challenged with the constant conversation about politics, as well as the constant conversation of race relations. No, those are not the same thing. And I think that a lot of belief systems were challenged, and that caused for people to become very emotional. And when you become overly emotional, that can cause you to miss the point of the conversation. So, going into 2021, let's be confident that who we are is good enough, and move knowing that no external person can shake us to the point where we do not feel grounded in our own presence. And this is something that you have to practice. This is something that you have to be aware of. You have to practice awareness when you get into different social situations or when you get into different conflicts. You have to practice awareness of how you feel. And if you feel different than you would feel if you were sitting alone in your comfort zone, identify what feels different. Identify what in your body feels different. When you're in certain situations, do your shoulders tense? Do your shoulders clench up? Does your heart start to beat really fast? Do you stop breathing? Because if that happens, then when you are out and when you are attempting to stay confident and comfortable in your own energy, you can just return to the breath, make sure you're breathing, relax those shoulders, and then all of a sudden you feel more like yourself, even though you're in a situation that you never thought you'd be in. So, mastering one's own energy and being confident in one's internal energy is the first habit that I think we should really work on nurturing before we get into 2021. The second spiritual habit that we should nurture before we get into 2021 is confidence in our faith. This is a channel that talks a lot about law of attraction, and I am a person who strongly believes that law of attraction can work with any faith, any religion. I think they work side by side because law of attraction is simply the observation that you attract what you believe to be true. Okay, that's a deeper conversation, but I do talk about it in a lot of my videos. So that means that this is a wonderful time to brush up on what you believe. You know, do you believe that the universe is providing for you and protecting you? Do you believe that Jesus Christ is providing for you and protecting you? Do you believe that it's more about internal vibration and identifying different scenarios and situations and environments that align with you, that allow your life to flow? Really figure out what your belief system is about your life so that you can observe it and make sure that you don't have any holes, any cracks in your own belief system. The reason why this is important is because our faith is our foundation. Okay, we don't all have the same faith, but whatever you internally believe to be the foundation of your reality is the foundation of your belief system. So it's up to you to identify what those beliefs actually are. After you identify what those beliefs are, on a daily basis, check in, stay aware. Do your thoughts align with the belief that you claimed? For example, if your belief system is in Christianity and you have a belief that Jesus is providing for me, Jesus keeps me safe, and nothing that happens is by coincidence. If those are your beliefs that you claim to have, and then you go to the grocery store and they're out of your favorite product, and you become so angry that they're out of your favorite product at the grocery store, then it's time to come back to that belief system and see if the emotion that came up from the frustration of the store not having your product, does that align with your belief system of Jesus providing for you and Jesus always making sure that you are safe and comfortable. Because if you really have a belief that Jesus always keeps you safe and comfortable, there's a specific level of gratitude that will be there if you really believe those things. But if you're only holding on to that belief in for your ego, to just say that you're a Christian or to just say that this is your faith to fit in with people or whatever, then that can be identified in your actions. So before we get into 2021, I think it's very, very, very important to identify what our belief systems are, and then to make sure that our actions and our thoughts and emotions align with that belief system. Another example would be if you are expecting an important sum of money to pay a bill. Then let's say the money hasn't come in yet. Let's say you believe in the universe and your belief system is that the universe is always on time. If you are expecting a sum of money and every single day you're texting the person who owes you money like, okay, when are you going to give it to me? I need it. When am I going to have it? Or if you are constantly checking the mailbox, constantly checking online to see when the transfer has gone through, does that align with the belief that the universe is always on time and that the universe provides for you in divine timing? Does the belief align with your actions and your thoughts? Because I know it can be very difficult to let go of the vice grip that we often have on being in control, but that's the whole point. That's why faith is so important, because faith allows us to let go of resistance and just live, because we're not doing this by ourselves. I don't believe we're doing this by ourselves. So figure out what you believe and then commit to believing it. And just a little side note, once you figure out what you believe, you can connect to this belief through prayer and meditation. I have tons of videos on those two things as well. So the next habit that we should nurture before moving into 2021 is evaluating the types of people and behaviors that we want in our lives. Now, in the past, I have often said that my cutoff game is strong. But I've realized that that's not who I want to be. And a big part of my cutoff game being so strong was my social anxiety and my inability to mentally process what I was thinking and then still have space for another person and their emotions. So that being said, this is not a talk about cutting your friends off, cutting your family off, or any of that, because I don't necessarily believe anymore that it's necessary to cut people off when you need space. But that's really a maturity talk. If you'd like me to make another video about that, I'm happy to. Just let me know down in the comments. But what we're more so talking about is just the simple act of defining what you expect from the people in your life. How do you expect to be talked to? How do you expect to be approached? What level of respect do you expect? And then there's the whole conversation of what type of behaviors do you expect from your friends? What type of behaviors do you expect from your family? Do you expect positive conversations, uplifting conversations? Do you expect that when you are hurting, the person that you reach out to is listening genuinely and has space for you? Okay, are you setting boundaries? Are you saying to yourself, okay, one thing I'm not going to tolerate is any type of gossip. One thing I'm not going to tolerate is any type of talking badly about others when they're not around or even when they are around. What are you going to tolerate in your relationships and what are you not going to tolerate? Just because you set a boundary with someone, when they cross that boundary, that doesn't mean you have to cut them out of your life. Often it can just warrant a conversation or some space. Space does not mean that you're cutting a person out of your life. It just means that there has been space created so that both parties can recollect themselves and figure out what the relationship means to them. But in order to even get there, You have to know what you expect from the people in your life. And in turn, when you're doing this, when you're making this list of all your expectations for those people in your life, make sure that you are ready to give back the exact same thing. Last but not least, the final spiritual habit that I think we should strengthen before 2021 rolls around is defining our spiritual goals. So I am going to reference a meme that I keep seeing float around on Instagram, and it's talking about how 2020 is the perfect time to start your business and to do this and to do that and follow your dreams. And though I do understand the point of having more time on your hands, I do not believe, in my personal perspective, that's what 2020 was for. I think that if you haven't started the business that you've always wanted to start, then I think that 2020 was about figuring out why you didn't start it. Because that's the root of the problem. The procrastination and the self-doubt is the root of the problem. Forcing yourself to do it just because you have more time isn't necessarily the solution. So I think that this year we've learned so much about ourselves, so much about our triggers, so much about our comfort zones, that I think that we are all ready to set some spiritual goals for the next year, so that if we are moving into more productivity, we can make sure that our faith and our spirit supports us and that we're not ignoring such an important part of the equation. So this works two ways. What are your intentions and what do you want to leave behind? So spiritually, what are your intentions for 2021? Do you intend to feel more self-love for yourself? Do you intend to love others more? Do you intend to have more faith in your belief system? What are your spiritual intentions for 2021? Write them down in a journal, on an index card that you keep in your wallet, wherever. Write them down, write your intentions down, so that when the year starts, you have a reminder of the person that you want to commit yourself to being. On the other side, what are you leaving behind in 2021? How do you want to grow? Do you want to leave behind specific limiting thoughts? Do you want to leave behind the habit of gravitating towards certain groups of people? Do you want to leave behind certain vices, certain habits that you may fall into when you're triggered, such as overeating, binge watching TV, spending money? What do you want to leave behind spiritually? 2020 has taught me that everything is one. And of course, if you watch a lot of spiritual videos, this is something that you hear all the time. And every time I rewatch a video about it or reread about the concept of oneness, new information, I download new information. And what this year has taught me is that as far as manifesting goes, if you want to manifest one life event or one material thing, often in order to manifest that thing, you have to conquer another part of your personality that may have nothing to do with your manifestation. So learning this in 2020 has taught me about the danger of hyper-focusing on manifestations, when in reality, we should be looking at our realities as a whole, figuring out what parts of our personality serve us and what parts of our personality are working against us. Because ultimately, that will lead to us being able to handle whatever manifestation we're trying to bring into our lives without the distractions of our vices. So all this to say, 2021 is part 2 to developing our awareness. 2020 did not give us a chance. We're all a little bit more aware of ourselves, a little bit more aware of the other humans on the planet, because we did not have a choice. Maybe before everything happened, we were in our own little bubble, so focused on ourselves and our journeys and our goals, but the stop button was pressed, it was slammed on, and now we're here in December just trying to put it all together, put the whole lesson together, and that's okay. However you handled this year was the right way to handle it for you. You didn't do anything wrong. But now it is time to gather everything and figure out what you want to do with all of this new information. So I hope that this video is valuable to you, and I hope that this video makes you excited about 2021, because I see a lot of hesitancy about being excited for the new year. So I do hope that this video starts to pump you up and reminds you that your life is unlimited and there are limitless possibilities in front of you, ahead of you. Life is not over. We've experienced pandemics over and over and over and over in our history, and we come back stronger as a human race every single time. This is a transition period, and transitions are often not fun. So it's okay if it doesn't feel good, but you handled everything the best way you knew how, and I'm so proud of you. So now let's take all of this new information and figure out what we want to do with this information so that we can figure out how to move forward in a way that serves us. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up so other people on YouTube know that it is valuable. If you would like me to expand on anything that I talked about in this video, just let me know down below and I will be happy to reference this in the future. Last but not least, please make sure that you're subscribed and that you click that notification bell so that you can be alerted when I come out with new content. And so you can become a reality bender yourself. Join the Bendy Bunch. I haven't said my spiel in a couple of days. I'm getting kind of rusty. But yes, I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I will see you next time. Bye.